God. Okay. Okay. I'm here. I'm good.
Welcome to Slow and Steady, the podcast where you get to follow along as we build products in public. Each week, we'll give you an honest peek into our lives as we share our struggles, our wins, and everything in between. I'm Brian. I am in Jupiter, Florida, and I am feeling excited.
I'm Benedicta. Today is October 19th, and I am feeling valued.
And I'm Benedict. This is episode number 112, and I'm feeling a little bit scared.
Everything's all over the place.
Why?
Why? So, funny thing, my calendar application has this little icon at the top where it tells you the current date. And for some reason, it didn't update for the last 5 days or so. So it was stuck on October 14th for way longer than it should be. And yesterday in our weekly founders call, Jane was like, yeah, so we're going to launch the marketing feature next week. And I'm like, what? But it's only, I see what happened.
Oh my gosh.
So I thought the launch was further out than it actually was. And,
that is hysterical.
I mean, it doesn't really change anything, but yeah, it felt better when it was further down the road, but now it's next week, and I'm a little bit scared.
And it just didn't register after like the 3rd, October the 14th of. Yeah,
I didn't.
It's been like 10 days out for 13 days now. How is that?
Yeah, something like that. I'm not entirely sure what happened there and why I didn't. I just didn't notice.
What's your calendar app?
I'm using Fantastical, which is fantastic for the most part, but that little thing tripped me up. And after
except
I
for the
refreshed
tiny
it
little
yesterday,
feature of accurately tracking the date. It's a great calendar app.
It's a great calendar
app. Yeah. Let's see if it keeps doing this for the next couple of days, because I had to refresh it manually earlier today to update to the 19th.
Okay.
But is that application still maintained? Because I remember using that a couple of years back.
Yeah, I think it is maintained. At least it's installing software updates every couple of weeks. So
yeah, well,
hopefully there will be one for this particular issue.
Maybe it will. I think maybe your brain just wanted to be tricked. I guess that's what's happened.
Yes.
That might be true as well.
Wanted to believe. Well, so when is the launch then? Did you say?
It's next Tuesday, so
all right.
October 26th, I believe. Yeah, 26th. At least that's what the calendar app says.
Next Tuesday is the 26th. Well, how are you feeling about it?
That is a fantastic story.
Very fantastical.
Oh,
it's super fantastical.
Fantastical.
So what's left to be done? Like, how are you feeling about it generally?
Mostly marketing stuff, preparing documents and things like that. We decided to enable the feature for everyone tomorrow, just to see, if something blows up, it should probably blow up this week and not next week after we made an announcement or something like that, because that would make our days miserable. So we turn it on to tomorrow and then see if something breaks or explodes or whatever. And if it doesn't, then all good. If it does, then I have a couple more days of fixing stuff.
Time. Yeah.
And then we can still decide if we want to launch it or if we want to postpone it. But in the end, let's launch it. It doesn't matter that much.
I mean, let's remember you have a calendar app that doesn't show the correct date. So, I mean,
what could possibly go wrong, right?
And you still use it. So our customers
better
can
done
be
than perfect.
Exactly.
Yep.
Right on.
Yep.
What else happening?
So, what else has been happening? Let me quickly think about that.
I mean, we're going to do deep dive on Brian today, but...
Yes, I'll keep this short. But like long-time listeners of this podcast might remember that I've been going on about counter caching and how counting stuff in a database is hard and it's causing problems here and there and everywhere. So last week I decided to finally properly tackle it, and I implemented that counter update queue solution that I've been thinking on for a year or even longer. And I finally implemented it, and it's working. So we have it now in one place in the code base for the updates of broadcasts and the delivered count, and we can now send a bunch of emails at the same time or almost at the same time, and the counter will not get stuck and cause problems, and it's almost instantly updating, so it's all smooth and nice. Let's see how long this particular solution lasts. But I'm pretty confident. Well, hopefully forever, yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
Forever scaling, it feels like. That's what I'm getting from everyone who is getting their projects up and like getting everyone who's like further along. I feel like everything they're talking about is like scaling, or like database issues. I've been following Fathom. I've been a customer of Fathom, and I feel like their updates for a year now has all been about database migrations and database optimization and those kinds of things. So
any product that remotely looks like an analytics tool, and I'm including user lists in that, is probably not a good project to pick up.
I can see my future. POW is kind of an analytics tool. I can see where I'm headed, where my future is heading.
Yeah, hopefully you don't get that many data points, though.
Probably not. But I have to do it all in the browser, though. I can't do it on the server, so I'll have my own fair share of problems, I think.
Well, you get distributed computing for free in that case, so that might be a good thing.
It might be. Yeah. Anything more?
So that's basically what's been going on our side. We had some performance issues as well last week, but I don't want to talk about it. It's just more of the same stuff.
Well, then Benedict,
what about you?
What have you got? What's happening with you?
I have done yoga 29 out of 30 days. I just need that to be on air.
Congrats.
Congratulations.
And I'm so mad I missed Saturday. It was just such a full day. And I went to dinner and I came home at like 1:45 midnight, and I was like, I'm not doing yoga now. But it wasn't that I didn't want to. It just like really slipped my mind. So, but I'm really proud. I think it's the first time in my life I've done exercise every day. So that is pretty awesome. And I can feel like I'm actually getting stronger. The slow and steady stuff works, annoyingly. Because I've always been the kind who like do a lot and then do nothing and then do a lot, and then I'm finally waking up to how awesome this is. Like I'm actually getting a lot stronger than like going to the gym for 3 weeks and not for 6 months. It's better.
That kind of makes sense.
Here's to keeping the streak.
Everybody knows, right? It's just like, but you have to do it. Yeah. So my 30-day challenge finishes tomorrow, so that's why I'm saying it today, so that I actually move on to another challenge before next week. So I keep this up. But on the work side, I ended up winning the Gatsby Funk Jam, which was a competition for showcasing good ways of using Gatsby functions. And I demoed how...
That is awesome.
I won a Mac M1 Mini. So now streaming will be smooth.
Nice.
Yes. We're just having a little bit of issues getting the gift kind of over the country borders and stuff like that. But but now, I mean, the launch yesterday, I'm gonna ask if I can like spend some of that, like instead of getting a Mac Mini 1, if I can like take that money and put it into a MacBook Pro, M1 Pro or whatever. Anyways, but that's gonna cost me a lot. Anywho, so what I demonstrated was how to sell access to a private GitHub repository using GitHub authentication and custom striped checkouts, where everything happens automatically, which is super cool, actually. And I am using that for my fall Gatsby mini boot camps. So you pay, and then you're added to a repository that will be kind of the headquarters for the boot camp. So I'll share the code there. I'll share the videos there. I will share the links there. And also all of the discussions will happen in the discussions tab on GitHub. So that is actually, so that, like, I needed to make it, and I also won with it, which is like, I mean, a win-win-win. I don't know.
You got paid a Mac Mini to build something you needed.
Yes. So I'm pretty excited about that. And our streams are doing really well. So I feel like this Gatsby Authority stuff is like picking up and working. Being queen is fun, and it seems like other people think it's fun. So I'm gonna keep at it. And then hopefully this week, or not hopefully, this week I am launching at least one of the boot camps with a sales page.
Cool.
And that's why I said I felt valued, because I had to ask for testimonials, which is maybe the scariest thing I know of. But I got it done today, and I'm just going to read one sentence. I would, and I have recommended your bootcamps to others, because for me, it wasn't just about creating serverless function. It was, in fact, a mini crash course in the art of software engineering in itself.
Very
nice. That's a good
I almost cried. I was like, what? Really? Really?
That's a great testimonial. That's awesome. Congrats. You got there's some good traction and energy happening around all your Gatsby stuff.
I know. I can feel it. Like, there's good. Yeah. So I'm excited. So I'm feeling, that testimonial and the other one made me feel, I guess, valued. I was trying to find, I don't know if that was the right word, but at least like.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, totally makes sense.
When are you
launching it? You said this week, but
this week. So I'm probably going to launch like officially on stream on Thursday this week.
Cool.
Because we do the Gatsby show every week. And hopefully I have all three of them done by then, but I'm just promising one. Yeah. So now we lost Brian when we were gonna move over to what's he?
Yeah,
he's been up to.
Now he bailed out.
Yeah, he's like, I don't want to talk about it. We'll see.
Welcome back, Brian.
I was going to transition to you, and you just left.
I just decided I was done with it. Yeah, no, I'm...
Yeah. You were just...
Don't want to talk about this.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about it, no.
Because there are some big news coming from you, Brian. Do you want to just, like, say it?
Yes. Yeah, so the very big news for me is that on Monday... I will be senior product manager of product operations at GitLab.
Wow.
So,
We're sounding super surprised right now.
You're so surprised.
Before.
Y'all have known for a little while.
Congrats, though. I mean, this is
Thanks.
This is a pretty big step for you. I mean, well, that sounds wrong, but it's been long time coming, but also super surprising for me. I mean, when you first told us about the possibility of you getting this job, I was like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Didn't he just mention that this is the best year in consulting ever?
Well, yeah. So that's a good question. Like, why? Why now? And yeah, this has been the best, in terms of revenue, the best year of consulting. It is still, just been, stressful, like big highs, big lows, just tons and tons of just instability, it seems like on a short term, but, and so, I think, when was it? It was at some point last year that I interviewed about a different GitLab job, and that one didn't work out. This particular position somebody at GitLab reached out to me and said, hey, you should look at this role. I think you're perfect for it. You know, why don't you apply? I was like, okay, yeah, fine, whatever. And applied. And then like one interview after interview kept happening. And that's when I finally just mentioned to y'all, like, hey, I think this might look like it might be happening. And, but you know, still just kind of waiting for it to not pan out until it eventually has. But
How many interviews?
5, I think.
That's a lot.
Yeah, it's a bunch.
It's a bunch.
And but I mean, like a lot of them were, they were really, they didn't feel like interviews, with the exception of one that felt seriously like, you know, just down the middle, or what's the right word? Just like, you know, by the book, you know, interview. The other ones just felt more like, you know, working sessions and just kind of real-time collaboration on stuff. Like felt really, really cool. But I mean, I think, you know, the reason that as it started to come together and trying to look and say, man, yeah, consulting has gone well this year. Why not continue to ride that? Or do this, and it feels like I'll be getting a bunch of margin back, just in terms of like brain cycles, you know, and waking up in the middle of the night, not being able to go back to sleep, just because, like, you know, even though, you know, clients are showing up and revenue is really good, there's just still, you don't actually know 3-4 months from now where your paycheck is coming from. Like, and it has always shown up, but it's also because, well, you just got to continue to work on it. It's just a constant grind. And so I'm just feeling kind of worn down, just burnt out, you know, from all of that. So I am hopeful that a full-time job, stable, you know, probably in some ways, like, you know, relatively boring because it'll, you know, just be like slower. That there'll just be more margin, for, probably not for time, realistically. Like, I don't think I'm going to be getting any time back, but there will be a little bit of margin financially, compared to self-employment. And I think that there will be some margin for like mental space. So that's why.
That sounds good. Will you be making about equal amount of money that you're making from consulting, or is it more or less?
It's more. Yeah, it's more.
Okay,
and,
that makes
and
it easier.
stable. And stable.
Yeah. And stable. And, you know, I mean, a decent, you know, grant of options, for some point down the road, you know, but for the most part, it just feels like, okay, let's just do a good job and take a deep breath, you know, for a couple of years here. Yeah. Basically at about the exact same time that it was like that these interviews were getting into like the final stages, like interviewing with the chief of product, basically. This Series A startup, I was introduced to, and they had an opening for VP of product, and the company's like just closed their Series A. They're like 23 employees. They're growing. And I was like, oh, now that is a killer fit. Like, that's perfect. Except that, like, it would need singular focus. You know, I feel like that role, it deserves somebody who's not also like moonlighting or side projecting. Like, this is it. This is the thing, you know? And I was just like, man, that's a better fit for a different version of me. But like right now, no, I can't do a 60-hour week, you know? Even in
this
bursts.
This is so mature. So. This is very mature. It's a very mature decision.
Well, thanks. I know that job would have been very fun, but it would have been tiring. And so this feels like, okay, the role that the goal here is to do a really, really good job, grow in some areas where I don't have any experience, working in a large organization across, multiple functions and multiple departments. And yeah, and hopefully just settle into a more restful pace,
Yeah. Will you be working full time, or is it a part time gig?
Yeah,
or?
no, it's full time. It's cool because it's GitLab, and so it's 100% remote. There is not an office anywhere, and so they are asynchronous by default first. And you can work weird hours if you want to. You can work normal quote normal hours if you want to. There's a lot of that flexibility that's just already baked in. So, yeah, yep, full time. But my current plan is that I should still be able to continue to sort of keep JTBD.app, sort of moving along on the side, knowing that it's going to need, 2 or 3 years anyway.
Time.
Yeah. So we'll
Is this
see.
something that
Yeah,
is this something you talked about during the interviews or in the interviewing process, that you are planning to do something on the side as well? Is this like, did you bring it up, or are you just pretending it doesn't exist?
No. I mean, I was able to mention it, but also they talk. They're very explicit in their employee handbook, which is also public. They have a very generous, intellectual property policy. Like they're very, I think, aware and cognizant of the sort of people that they attract are the sort of people who are going to be like tinkering around something on the side.
Tinkering with something on the side.
That's not a problem.
Yeah. So
just tinkering.
I mean, I think what I really want to see if I can set up though is just setting aside like a budget for development and not trying to continue to like product design and build it, but just be specifically in a product management role for the app, and see about getting development, kind of moving along in that way.
Also,
at least over these next several months.
Taking some of your salary and funding the app is what you're thinking?
Yeah. Yes. Like, putting some of my own money into it so that I'm not the developer anymore. And just be putting whatever creative energy I do have for the project, putting it entirely into, research and feature design, and giving up the idea of also being the one to build it. And so
that would be an interesting direction.
Yeah.
Seeing or getting to hear you finding and collaborating with the developer. And
and I've gone the reason that I feel like the best move here, at least for a number of months, if not a full year, to really get my feet underneath me in the new role, is it probably should be something like outsourced, as opposed to trying to very seriously find a partner for the project, because I just would not be able to give equal time and energy to it. It needs to be something where I really can just, spit out a spec, and then take a look at it and just make calls and decisions, immediately without needing to back and forth stuff. So, that's that.
But how do you feel about taking a full-time job? Does it feel like a win? Or I would say, like, I don't want to say the other word, but like, I was like, I've wrote down in my notes, like, does it feel like a win or a failure? But of course, it's not a failure because it's an awesome job. But like, how does it
Right.
feel
Yeah. Does it
in
feel like
regards to like, yeah, a step down or
Yeah.
a step up? I guess is a better wording.
Yes, it feels like both. That's a great question, and I do think it's the right way to frame it and ask it. Like, okay, you have been self-employed, now you will no longer be self-employed. Does it feel like your attempt to be self-employed has failed, or does it feel like you have won because now you're into something more stable that pays better, and et cetera, et cetera? And it's a bit of both of those. I wish that the third option, which has not come to pass, was the thing, which is that I own my own time and I have recurring monthly revenue to so that I can work on my own project. But I've never owned my own time. Like, even being self-employed and doing consulting work, you have to, I have to be showing up to this other thing that is not what I want my primary focus to be. So if that's going to be the case, gosh, then why not do something where the taxes are easier, the benefits are better, and somebody else has more responsibility.
You make it sound so good.
Well,
hopefully it is so good, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, again, like it's all relative. It is so contextualized to the fact that I think I'm coming up on 4 years, and it's just tiring. It's just been exhausting, and so a change of pace, a slower pace, and just some more, I think just predictability and certainty. And it's the right company, it's the right type of work. So we will see how it comes together.
I feel like this is a big factor in this. That GitLab is sort of a unique in the totally remote, totally flexible, totally asynchronous. You rarely get a setup like this anywhere else. I mean, there are probably a handful of companies where you can get a different feeling or a different work pace, but I mean, in a way, you're owning your time as much as you did before. I mean, at least there's flexibility. You're not you can probably skip a day if you make it up on the weekend or something like that.
Right. Yeah.
Probably nobody will care. So it's not that different from how you're working already. So
totally. No, you're totally
that's
right that it's that even this switch from self-employment to full-time, this is not the typical full-time regular work hours type of job, office job. And so it's like, it has all of those things working for it. It feels like such a great fit. So I'm really excited.
I mean, it's a super cool company though. Super cool.
Yeah.
Do you know what you will be working on or what the job will look like?
This is why, the person who did reach out to me,
I just want to say to the people who only listen, like, he smiled big time when he got asked that question. So just
reached out specifically because it's product operations, meaning that all of the other product managers and group managers who are working on a part of the stages, as they call them in GitLab, and all these specific different features. I will not be working on a feature. My job will basically be to make all of the product managers, my customer, get to know what it is about what are the things within GitLab's product operations processes that make your job difficult, that slow you down, that should be automated, or that are currently automated but not well, et cetera, and basically to work with engineering to build tools that automate those things, and make it easier for them to collect customer feedback and turn that feedback into into features and writing better release notes and et cetera, et cetera. So like that to me is really, really exciting. There's an element of education about it. I love speaking and teaching and sharing. And it's just like, it won't be one specific, leg, in the product, but like working across the whole product organization, to help.
So did I get
the
that
job
right?
done
That
better.
you'll be more like, it's basically an internal.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Well, yeah.
It
So
is. Yeah, it is internal.
your customers are product managers, and you'll be collecting feedback from them to then tell basically the same people what they need to build in terms of tooling.
So So I left the important part out, is that they wanted somebody with product experience from a developer background, because those tools, they told me straight up, like 50-60% of your job will be coding. Are you cool with that? It's like, I would be fine if it were 70. So yes, this is great. And so, basically my boss, who is the group manager of product operations, has been on her own trying to do this for like a little over, I think a year and some months or something, year and a half. And so that's the other really fun thing about it to me, is that I'll just be the second person on the product operations team, which they, expect will be growing to 6, 10, 12 over the next, couple of years. And so just like working with her to figure out what would make other product managers' jobs easier, and then building the tools that automate those things internally. So it should be a lot of fun.
So sounds like this will be. I keep thinking about a recent interview with someone from Stripe on Art of Product, where they basically said that a lot of why Stripe is doing a good job with like shipping fast and shipping good quality features is that they have an entire team or entire part of the company only focused on developer productivity for themselves.
Yes.
Like just make their employees faster and more productive and stuff like that. And it sounds like your role or the product operations team is basically the same thing, but for product management. Is that am I getting this right?
Yeah, yes,
Nice.
Definitely. Yes. And so one of the other companies that's been really talking about product operations is Pendo, and they seem way too like overly process oriented around it. And so that was the other thing that the more I talked to, people during the interviews at GitLab was like, we appreciate process, but too much process just gets in the way. It's like, okay, music to my ears, cool. So we're not going to try to get in here and make a process for everything. We're just going to try to take what currently exists, make it better, make it faster, more efficient, and build tools around it. And feels like a killer fit. Yeah.
Also sounds like this might be perfect customer number one, or how many customers you already have for JTBD.app?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, they're big. They're big on, we talked about jobs to be done quite a bit. Because they're big, big believers, practitioners. So yeah, I mean, there's just everything about it just felt like this is the right thing at the right time. And it is not a failure to leave self-employment, because for the most, there are definitely going to be some trade-offs, no doubt. But for the most part, will I get to will I preserve the things about self-employment that I enjoy? And will I be trading away some of the things that I really, really dislike? And it's like unequivocally yes.
Have to be honest.
Hooray!
It very much sounds like the perfect job for you.
It does. It does.
It really does. I like the more I learned about it, and the more like each interview after each interview was like, oh, crud. Like I'm really starting to want this now, like, because it just at first it's like, okay, yep, I'll apply. Sure. I'll apply for it. But all good, like just full speed ahead on consulting and the app, etc. And then each time I was like, oh my gosh, okay, I'm in through the next stage. I really hope this works out. So I'm really glad. I am really glad that it did.
Did you tell your consulting clients yet? Are they aware that you will be gone?
Yeah. Yeah, so a client in particular that we're trying to wrap up all of their, interviews this week, and they're just like, they're being cool about it. But they're also, we've this is like the third project we've done together, and so we have, a pretty friendly relationship now. And they're just giving me a hard time, like, Brian, can't believe you're going to make us be doing these interviews. And so they know, and we're winding it down, and it's good. I would have liked to have had a little more, or a lot more, I think, time, just full on time off in between. But it just,
because you're starting Monday.
Well, yes, but like, but with the caveat that like they are very explicit about your first week, if not 2 weeks, should be very slow, only dedicated to just getting your onboarding paperwork done, watching a couple videos. It's not like on Monday I'm going to start, interviewing other product managers, at the company. It's it should be a pretty slow ramp up.
Slow and steady.
Yeah.
This is your new.
It's my new
your
thing.
New task. Yeah, your new thing that you have to at least mention the episode, the podcast title at least once in a fitting way.
Oh, yeah.
Per episode.
Yes.
Per episode. I've already done it 3 times this episode, I think. Yeah. I'm just like, I'm ramming it into my own head to realize how powerful that is. But it's interesting though, in different stages of your life, like what you can be attracted to in a job, or like you said, with saying no to the Series A and going with this company where it's going to be maybe a little bit slower, but or slower pace, but still interesting work, while maybe like 10-15 years ago, or I don't even know how old you are, 5 years ago, you would have been like, oh my god, this is so slow, like I know this could happen faster, like why doesn't it happen faster? Who are these people? And then after a while you're like, oh, now maybe we shouldn't just burn out everyone in a company right away. Like there is something to like taking it just down a notch and be there for the long haul, right?
Yeah.
You're interested in that.
Well, yeah, and it's stage of the company. They have the luxury of taking their time, and we don't. As bootstrappers and self-employed people, like there is not 2.5 years of capital, sitting around. So,
but also if you burn yourself out completely, like there will definitely not be a paycheck coming down the road. Yeah. So you still need to manage that in a way when you're realizing you don't have the energy of youth anymore.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and no doubt. I think what was the other thing I wanted to mention? Oh, was just in terms of like the other part of why is this the right thing now, and this will be better, is that even though self-employment like worked in the fact that I've was self-employed for 4 years and never missed a payment on anything, like okay, cool, you could do it. But what I what I didn't do well was like adhering to Rob Walling's stair step approach, and like inadvertently kept skipping to step 3. Of like, okay, I've got consulting clients, but now I need to be spinning up a subscription based, a SaaS on the side, rather than do a little tool with a single marketing channel, and then do that many times, and then you own your time, and now you can spend all of that on a subscription model. And so, like, the other thing that's at least kicking around in my mind is, okay, do I actually do that? Do I put JTBD.app on hold and like do some research on a Shopify add-on, or do I just buy an existing Shopify add-on from some micro marketplace and try and take it from 500 MRR up? So anyway, that's the other thing I wanted to mention. I was just curious to hear y'all's thoughts on that.
But how would infra products, which is like kind of the route I'm going after trying to make a SaaS first. No, but since you are so good at the product stuff, I don't even know what I should call it. This is how good I'm at the product stuff. How about like writing a mini book or like something that is a thing that you sell once, but that builds on the knowledge you have from JTBD app and could become a marketing asset for JTBD app, but also is knowledge that is valuable for your full-time job. Like, could you extract something from both of those things? Because even if you buy some, like a Spotify add-on or whatever, it's going to be in a completely different like space. There's going to be new people. There's going to be like new things to learn, which could be fun. But as you said, you wanted more margins. How could you just like scrape up some knowledge off of the floor that you already have and like sell that?
Well, because I think, first of all, like it's just a one-time sale and it needs marketing.
Yeah, but then it would be marketing.
Anything needs
towards
marketing,
the
of
people
course, but like
that might later want that SaaS, which would be practice for the big leagues. I don't know.
I have a feeling that this is still doing it the wrong way. If you like, in terms of stair stepping, I think doing something with a goal, doing step 1 with step 3 in mind is cheating, or not even cheating. It's probably a mistake, because you're still pretending to be going towards step 3 and knowing what step 3 will look like. And I feel like the trick of stair stepping is not thinking about step 2 and 3 when you're at step 1 and just focusing on the thing you're currently working on.
Yeah. The only goal of step 1 is to generate a small amount of recurring revenue, and then to clone it. Or well, not clone it, but like to repeat that.
On the other hand, sure, like if I don't know.
Gotta read this.
We'll link to it.
Well, my answer is do not buy a Shopify app or Heroku app.
Yeah.
I feel like that sounds like sidestepping too much. I don't know. That's just my gut feeling anyway.
I'm not so sure about that.
Benedict is like, yeah, Shopify app all the way.
I have to admit that this has been a thing that's been on my mind for, I don't know, half a year, longer than that. Exactly this. Like, I mean, at this point, Userlist, we basically made Userlist somewhat work just by endurance and willpower of just like keep going for a very long time. And now it feels like it's sort of working or starting to work. But I sometimes wonder if we also skipped step 1 and 2 or whatever of like just, I mean, Jane did a little bit of that with like her book and info products and stuff like that. But I, for sure, never did anything like that. I had a plan of writing a book, but that never happened because I then skipped ahead and built a SaaS.
Because we're not
But-
saying books are bad. We're just saying you need to do something just
No.
as step one
No.
without thinking about
Yes.
step three.
Yeah. And I'm also not saying books are bad, but I feel like info products aren't for me. I just don't. I don't have it in me. Like I need to write code. I need to build a product. Something like this. I'm having a real hard time writing books. Just recording a course or whatever. It's not for me. It's just not the work I enjoy. It's similar to Benedict, what you say with like, you like doing the live streams, but like pre-recording a video is just a chore. And an
I'm
info
getting
product is
better at it,
basically,
though.
yeah. I mean, you're making it work for you. But even like I tried the live streaming thing for a while, and people might have noticed I skipped on that in the last couple of weeks as well. So it's just, I don't know, it's just not for me. But I mean, there's still other ways to make simple products that, yeah, as I said, like a Heroku add-on, a Shopify add-on, something where the marketing, at least the first marketing channel, is pretty obvious and you don't really have to question it.
Right.
And there's something to it, because I've seen
Right.
a handful of people in the past, like out of my network, and just like start with a Heroku add-on and just start with a super simple thing and a super narrow thing, and they all made it work relatively quickly. Even though they didn't have an audience before, they didn't have any like marketing jobs, they just started with a simple thing in this marketplace, and it seemed to work for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Single focus on an established platform where people are accustomed to spending
And
money.
I think maybe accustomed to spending money
To make their life easier.
is like one of the key things here, because I think a lot of us start making things we don't see because we're like, oh, this should exist. And then you're like, but will people spend money on that? So if you want to make it easier on yourself, like if you find a marketplace where people are already spending money, like you said, like that is maybe the important part, if it's a book or a product or whatever. But like if there is like an established type of product and an established kind of nice price to it and an established kind of everything around it, then you make your job a lot easier.
Yeah,
I guess.
Yeah, and I think it also needs to be a marketplace with decent visibility still. I mean, I don't think the App Store is a good, like the Apple App Store or whatever, Google Play Store.
No.
That doesn't count anymore, because that's just
that is not
bullshit. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, it isn't, but it's as if you were starting on the internet and just starting from scratch. But a relatively small marketplace like Heroku, the Heroku marketplace. I mean, there are a couple of apps in there, but it's maybe less than 50. So the competition isn't that hard.
I am waiting for the
Yeah.
Gatsby marketplace. I'm like betting
Yeah.
on there will be, or I'm
Yeah.
hoping there
Yes.
will be a Gatsby marketplace at some point.
Yeah.
'Cause
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
that would be, then I wouldn't have to like figure out how to monetize it myself, right? Then I could release plugins.
That would be the perfect stair
Yeah.
number one.
I'm just doing
for
3 and then
you.
1 and then
But I mean, that's exactly the thing that I
like dancing
asking
back
myself.
up and down, up and down, up and down. Oh my god, I have the perfect video for this. I will find it and we will link it in the description. No, but keep on going, Benedict.
Cool. Well,
You were
we're
saying something.
we're a little bit over.
Do you have to go, Brian? Should we?
No.
Okay.
I don't
just
know.
saying
I don't
that
have to go. It's just
'Cause this is
noticing
a
I've
good
been thinking about
conversation.
like
over.
just starting something on the site, like just something on the Heroku App Store or something simple. I just see how it goes. But then again, there's also something said about keeping your focus and staying focused on one thing and just powering through. So I'm not entirely sure.
I mean, I wonder if in your case, Benedict, that, Tiny Seed was like step 1.5. And then, you through endurance and grind and making it work, that was, the stair, like half of stair 2. And you're just like finally starting to see that it's going, that it's working, and almost working, like on its way to
That's
working.
a good point.
So maybe don't beat yourself up too much about it.
Maybe getting funding is the cheat code to to skipping those early steps and going ahead to step 3 or whatever.
No, totally.
So.
Totally is. That's why I have never been as religiously opposed to, venture capital as most people in bootstrapping are in our community are. Is because, look, there are a couple different ways you can burn yourself out. That's one
There's
of them,
so many ways.
It's not like it's not like bootstrapping is this, like perfect route either. Getting money to focus on one thing is a great option.
But do you feel like your need for, now that you have funding and it's going as well as it's going, does it feel so much like a kind of ordinary job that you're like started to look for a side project? Is it like that kind of itch?
Yes. I don't know.
Question mark.
It depends on my mood, to be honest, day to day. Sometimes it very much feels like a job and a chore. And other days it's just super fun and I enjoy it a lot. But I mean, that's just the nature of things. If you keep going for, how long is it now? I think we're coming up on 4 years. So no surprise that it sometimes feels like a job, because essentially it is one.
So interesting. So it does have more to do with like needing a little creative like release valve, as opposed to, man, I wish I had like just 1,000 or 2,000 of more like floor level.
That plays into it as well. No sense in hiding that fact. That's still this dream of the grass is always greener with the next product and stuff like that. And we'll be making way much more money a lot faster with this other thing. And that's probably also the trap that I'm trying to avoid, of like just starting a new thing, getting distracted by that new thing, and not getting anywhere in a reasonable amount of time as well, and then kicking myself for not spending that time on user list. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe one day when the time is right, I'll explore the Heroku marketplace a little bit.
I love how
it's also a question of finding the right problem.
Wow.
Sorry.
No, I love how we're trying to wrap up, and Brian just was like, "Oh, just this last thing. I've been thinking about a Shopify add-on," and suddenly it's just like whoosh. It's like we got like we need to
opened up a whole new conversation.
Next episode be like staircase 1 or like step 1 discussion.
Yeah. I think timing-wise, I think it would make sense for the next episode for you, Queen Ray, to be in the hot seat to talk about your Gatsby launch, so that then the following week, Benedict, you will have a launch to talk about. Then we can hot seat you there.
Sounds good.
How's
and
that
not
sound?
talk about all the side projects we want to do.
I mean, if the next episode spirals into talking about side projects, then I guess I'm fine with that as well.
Yeah.
Well done. This was a good one. Congrats again on the new job. We're looking forward to updates from the fully employed
from the
life.
Gosh,
we don't even know what it's called.
We don't.
The fully thing. The fully thing.
What's that thing called? You get a paycheck.
How do taxes work when you're full employed?
In the U.S. at least, better. But,
Do you know, since somebody asked, do you know how that works if you're fully employed in Norway? Do you want to know? They send
how does
you
it-
your
Yeah.
taxes in a digital portal, and then if you don't do anything, that means you accept what they have calculated, and you're done.
That's how it works in Germany as well.
Yes.
That sounds. Oh wow! How interesting! You're telling me that there's a better way for the government to collect taxes from its citizens.
Let's not get
and
all in.
provide services
Let's not
with
get
the
all
funds
into that, but
collected?
it's like we do not understand sitcoms. Because it's like, do taxes? It's like, what are you, like, if you're not self-employed, you just, like, accept. You don't, like, do taxes. It's like...
Oh, that's hilarious.
Anyways, I think we were about to wrap up, and we're still failing and still keep going. So
Okay.
Um,
Yep.
talk
Bye,
to you
y'all.
Talk to you
Good
next
catching
week.
up.
Bye-bye.
bye, everyone.